So let's talk about a game called Zephyr. I was sent a copy by the publisher, Fede, uh, and I've reviewed some of their games before. Nibiru is one that I've reviewed a few years back. I was quite fond of it. And I think Nibiru is a really interesting take on science fiction of going through in essentially a giant world ship and exploring it. It's really interesting. This is a very different kind of role playing game. Uh, Zephyr is advertised as an anarchist fantasy. And the idea is to sort of remove a lot of the structures that you associate with the state, with government in your play. It's diceless. There are no card based mechanics, there are no random number generation. You have tokens of different colors, which, if you buy the physical package, they actually come in a little pouch of different tokens of four different colors. And your character is defined in a lot of ways with those colors representing emotional content to your character's existence. And how you interact with the world involves their emotional interactions based off their uh, token count, as it were. And you can become more or less associated with that particular element of the world by matching their sort of token color combinations. It's a really interesting idea. And I should say up front, the artwork for this game is amazing. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. Definitely worth your time for just to look through it. The production quality is solid. This book is, as you can tell, a little bit unusual in its sort of shape, right? Most rule books are a little wider or smaller. They are not usually this narrow design. And it came in a wonderful box, which I will show you here, which is like the artwork of the cover. Oh dear. Camera camera fun. But yes, the box is shaped and has the same artwork. And the book came in here with the tokens, the pouch of tokens, and a pouch to put them in. It's a beautiful game, beautifully designed, well done production value on that level. I will point out a few things that may be a cause for pause and consider. The rules will take time for people to sort of dig into. I read them and then I had to reread them, because a lot of this is not going to come naturally to you if you're into role playing games already. It might actually work better for people who have never played a role playing game and don't know what they're structured at. But if you're used to the way role playing games usually work, this may take some time to get used to. Also, it is coming from a very particular philosophical place. If you're not apt to find some interesting ground in anarchist thought, you're probably not going to be happy with this game. It's probably not for you. If you are comfortable with a lot of the things that come with the philosophical side of anarchist thought, this is going to be actually somewhat revolutionary for you. It's going to fit nicely. You're going to enjoy it. But that's not everybody. It's definitely not a game for everybody. Another thing that I need to bring up is, as beautiful as the artwork is, as beautiful as like the layout and so on of the pages, it's a common problem with a lot of role-playing games. This is not the only one, where they go for the beauty of the visual design and in the process lose some of its readability, particularly for people who have difficulty with reading, um, with due to their vision and so on, or maybe some learning disabilities and so on. If you have a hard time reading, this book will not make it easy on you. Say what you will about Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons, and there are plenty of reasons to have discussions about them. But one of the things they do well is they make sure that it's readable. This game, another big example I can think of is Vampire, the sort of 5th edition of Vampire. Lots of beautifully laid out pages that are hard for people who have visual impairments to read. And this book suffers from that as well a little bit. This isn't a showstopper by any means. It's still beautiful. It's still lovely to read. But if you have visual problems, you're going to have a hard time reading some portions of this book because the font choice is very flowy and narrow. But if you're having trouble reading it, normal letters in general, you're really going to have problems with this. Those are the only real negatives I can give you. Beyond that, I can say that I'd have a hard time selling some of my gaming crews on this game. I think it's beautiful. I think it's got some really interesting ideas. But if you're looking for something for your more trad-oriented role-playing gamers, this isn't it. If you are dealing with people who are used to dealing with the more indie side of role-playing games, there's a lot here that people will enjoy. It is not rules light exactly, because there are a lot of rules about how the interaction, the sort of transactional nature of the actual core mechanics does require a lot of, well, if you're dealing with this, you do this. If you're doing this, you do this. So I wouldn't call it a rules light, but it is definitely a very different kind of mechanics than people are used to. And if your gaming group is more oriented towards playing with the more edge case indie games, this is going to have a lot for you, and often with a better production value than a lot of them end up getting. But if you're looking for something more traditional in its interactions, you're going to bounce off of this, I think. But it was very nice of the guy who put it out to get me a copy so I could review it. With the world on fire and a couple of other factors, it took me a little bit longer than I intended to get out a review. So here we are. But I think it is one of the more interesting games I've read in the last year. I think I found myself thinking about how its interactions worked quite a bit, even when I wasn't reading it. So this is my thoughts on the game. I think it's a good game. I think it's well worth consideration for a lot of folks. Just walk in with your eyes open and knowing what you're getting into is really where I'm at on that. But that's my review of Zephyr.